Boom.
Boomski. Where you at? Yeah, my cam just went out. I'm gonna have to put that up real quick. But I will do that whenever you're talking. So.
Hey.
So, welcome Shnazzy to the stream. Won't you tell me a little bit about how you got into all this art? Did you start it when you were real little or whatever? And then how you got into crypto and wax and kind of decided to go about your collections? And then really how you got into become to start working for Wax too. I'm kind of interested in that and how it all came about.
Ready for my life story, everyone?
Yeah. Let's hear Shnazzy's life story.
That would be way too long. But essentially, in art specifically, I was 5 years old and we lived with my grandparents, and I have a whole bunch of aunts, and my youngest aunt used to show me her art all the time, and she would draw really cool dinosaurs. She was like maybe 11, and I was like, wow, I really, really love your art. Like, the way you colored that looks so good, because I'd be coloring with crayons. And she's like, thanks, you'll never draw as good as me. And I took that as a challenge, and I took it to heart, and I was like, I bet. And I worked really, really hard to try to be better than her as fast as possible. So I would like get the how to draw books from the school library and practice drawing the different dinosaurs. And she also liked to draw apes and monkeys. So I started drawing apes and monkeys too. And I worked really hard at it, and I tried to have a more realistic style. Hers were very cartoony, and I was like, oh, if I do this realistic, then she won't be able to refute how good they look. And so that's how I started getting into art. And from there, I just kind of use it as a way to kind of escape reality and to problem solve and to learn about how different colors worked together and how they combined together. And I started experimenting with watercolors into my teen years. I really loved the artist Agnès Cecile, and she creates these beautiful portraits. They're completely done in all watercolor, but they're huge, large scale. She works and she lets them drip, and it evades so much emotion that I wanted to capture in my own art. So I practiced using that kind of technique, and I was like, oh, I like this, but I think that I actually prefer acrylics more, because if you mess up, you can fix it. And watercolor artists do not have that luxury. So if you see a watercolor art piece, know that they are very talented. Okay. And so I started working around with acrylics, and I would get the opportunity to do different mosaics inside of buildings, and I would go and paint huge pieces on walls of local shops in the city that I'm in. And
wow.
Eventually, I stopped doing that, and I started working for a bakery where I became a cake decorator for a long time. And after I had a cake artist, yes, I was actually a professional cake decorator, and one of the best locally, not to brag.
Nice.
But it was really hard, because I would have to do like 13 wedding cakes in 2 days, which one wedding cake would typically take quite a while, especially if it had like scroll work. But that helped me be able to work in different mediums, because after that I got a little bit into molding and shaping with clay, and I really loved clay. Just in my free time, I would make little figurines. And whenever I had my youngest son, he is now 2 years old, I stopped working full-time as a cake decorator, and I just stayed home with the babies, and that was really nice, and I got to live out that moment. But I also had just this hankering to keep creating art, and I just wanted to come back to art. And nice. So I did, and part of that was inside of the AMC ape movement. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, but it is basically the retail trader, or the retail investors and stock traders wanted to have more they wanted to have more transparency of the market. And they were fighting big hedge funds from maliciously shorting stocks and companies out of existence. And so this was really big with AMC, and AMC's on WAX. But before I talk about that, basically I was making this kind of semi-political art about the movement, and I was posting it on the Reddit forums and things, and they're like, oh my gosh, you need to put this on the blockchain to mark this moment in history. And I was like, what is a blockchain? And it was kind of cool. So that actual group taught me how to use blockchain technology, how to upload my art as NFTs, how to put them out there. They started selling, and that was in April of last year. And it's so interesting to think that we're coming up close on 2 years in the space. But I started out on Ethereum, and that's the truth. And I always had this guilt about putting art on a blockchain that wasn't eco-friendly, and that it was deterring other people, because one of the first things that they'd say whenever they're like, you make NFTs, why? Like, all NFTs are scams and they're bad for the environment. And I could refute most of their concerns, except for like, it's not sustainable, basically. And whenever I found out about AMC putting their NFTs on Wax, I started looking a little deeper into Wax and seeing that it was actually sustainable. I was so excited, and I got to start jumping in on the Wax community stuff, and that was really, really neat. Brett Backberg and Crypto Kumas actually were my friends while I was in ETH, and so I went to them and asked them questions, and they started hosting the Wax Wednesday spaces at the start of the year, and they helped me into my Wax journey a lot, and they made a lot of noise for me as soon as I decided to move into Wax, and got me the check marks on both Nifty Blocks and Atomic Hub within the same day of me entering Wax, and that was like really cool. It was.
That's awesome.
I know that process is usually really hard for everybody, but I'm grateful to have the friends that I had in the space before I entered it, who were able to make so much noise for me. And it was the very first time I'd ever sold out of an NFT. That was my Galactic Genesis piece, where you'll see Veronica, and she's floating in space, and there's some heliocycles on her side, and that's the first time I ever sold out of an NFT drop, and I made 20 of them, and people were like, all right, when's your next one coming out? And I was like, I guess I'm gonna put it out tomorrow. And I did, and I worked really hard to get them out as soon as I could, and it was a lot of fun. And I was like in tears a lot, because not only did I make like my first ever sellout day ever, entering this brand new blockchain, learning everything for the very first time, on Wax, because it works so much differently than other blockchains. I also made my first secondary sale ever, and I'd been in the space for almost in a year at that point, and never saw any kind of excitement or a community like this, and it was just amazing to be a part of.
That's so cool to hear.
Yeah,
That the transition from one to the other made that much difference. That's so cool.
It really did, and that's why I try to inspire all of my other Ethereum friends to come into Wax or just give it a shot, give it a try. And some of them have, and they've been met with the same experience where people came together and supported them and loved everything they were doing. But just because it was people who already existed in Wax who bought it, so they're collectors, were kind of upset that they weren't dropping on Ethereum still, so they went back to Ethereum because that's where their long-term collectors had been, and that was a little unfortunate. But I think as more blockchains start interacting with each other and not acting as competitors but more working as partners, I think we'll see that dynamic not be the way that it is currently.
Cool. And then since you started getting in with art, you really continued getting into the space more and more, and you have your own Wax Twitter spaces, or at least guesting on a lot of them, different ones. And then you got your new collections after that. So you had your E-Girls collection came later after that. So we're going to talk all about that and your different things, but that's a really cool start on how you got into it and that it worked out for you and solved the problems too. Initially, the initial problem you were concerned about with the environmental, I think it's a really, really big benefit of Wax, and that is a big disadvantage of ETH that the mainstream still holds as a very big negative of it. So that's it's wonderful to be able to tell those people, well, we actually solved that problem here on Wax. If you wanted to come check it out, uh, it's here.
Oh, yes.
And
It is.
for artists especially, whether they're trying to do NFTs or they're not, I've been trying to tell some artist friends, like, and then now there's so many of them are concerned about AI art too. I see that all over now. It's like, oh, we don't know how do we monetize anymore, blah blah. I'm like, you need to start learning a little more about NFTs and that you can do it sustainably and have actual communities around your art and stuff that you can't have in Web 2. So hopefully we see more of it. But it's really cool to have you in the space, lead by example, and now streaming too. So get to educate that way. It's awesome. Did you want to go over anything else before we start a screen share, looking at different things?
Yeah, so I can basically, before we do that, I'll talk a little bit about how I did get the job at Wax.
All right.
Because I wanted to mention that and why things are the way they are. And I'll show off why I created this piece then too.
Okay, yeah,
so,
do that and talk about that piece. Absolutely.
Yeah. So whenever I came into the space, it was a big deal because everyone, like Blackberg and Crypto Kumas, were so excited to have me come in. That Wax invited me to be a guest on their Women on the Block space. And at the time, it was one of them actually was one of my co-hosts. It was Tommy and I think it was Larcy who were hosting the Wax Wednesday spaces, and they held those behind the Wax curtain, so it was like behind the Wax blockchain's Twitter. And whenever I got to go into those spaces, it was such a good time and we had so much fun that about 2 weeks later they had reached out to all the girls who showed up in that Woman on the Block space and were like, hey, we're looking to hire a community manager. Do any of you think that might be an interesting position to be in? And I was like, yes, I do. Because I love talking about it, because you're right, it is the solution, and artists should be looking at NFTs as a way specifically not only to monetize what they've created, but also be able to provide context about what they've created in a different way. And whenever we're looking at all of the famous artists in history, if you think of any single artist at all, like I'll use Salvador Dali as, for example, because he's my favorite. We know a lot about Salvador Dali's life because he was so out there, and he also documented a lot of it, or made sure other people were able to document it. But he was proud to talk about his art to everybody. He would go to big parties and explain his art and give context. And I think what NFTs have the ability to do is provide context to why your art exists forever on the blockchain, and it leaves your legacy. And I will talk about that any chance I get. So I took that position and I got to work at Wax and learn a lot of amazing things. I got to host their Wax Wednesday spaces. The whole time I was there, I think I did 36 spaces with Tommy, and it was a great time and I loved every minute of it. But the whole entire tech industry started seeing some layoffs, and Wax was affected, and I was one of those laid off. Now almost 2 weeks ago tomorrow, and I started streaming that following Monday after I was laid off on Friday. But before I started streaming, I actually created this piece because honestly, I mean, getting laid off is hard. It's hard, and it spins you into a dark direction, especially because, you know, whenever you're doing a good job and the whole team loves you and they're sad to see you go, and it's, you know, you have teary-eyed conversations on webcams in front of each other, and it felt dark, but I couldn't let myself sit in that position for too long because I knew that this was also an opportunity now that I had before me that I needed to take. And being on Wax taught me so much about how marketing works, how talking to other people in higher places works. It taught me a lot about how to facilitate conversations and how to be more, and that's ultimately the tools that I needed in order to be a successful artist, in my opinion. And this piece is very dark. You see the fogginess. I didn't know what direction to go, and I paint whenever I'm getting really emotional, to kind of help myself explore what I'm thinking as I'm painting. And so I was able to make this a darker piece, but also a butterfly with her wings spread, cultivating these little flowers and other small butterflies, and it's a different bit of color to feel hopeful, because I feel hopeful and I'm so excited. And I think streaming was the right place for me to be right before I had to be laid off with Wax. I actually got to stream for their Tyranno Twitch, which is Tyranno Studios' own Twitch, to do gameplay and host interviews. And I only did that for about 2 weeks. But if I hadn't have done that before, I may not have considered Twitch an option for me. And I couldn't be more grateful for the time that I got to spend at Wax. And that's why this piece exists. And that's why I think that right now is a great way to give it away to one of you guys and be involved with you, ConsumerBreak, because I have watched your streams and I think that you do a fantastic job. And it feels good to be here.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, obviously we all feel for you on the layoff. Nobody wanted to hear that. A lot of us, including myself, have been laid off before from different jobs. We know the feeling. I've been there. So it's really, really, really awesome that you have that attitude now. Maybe it took you a painting to get there, but the fact that, you didn't take long at all, and you're just like, I'm going to use this opportunity to make my own thing, used what I learned to benefit, and with no hard feelings with your previous employer too. I know it's something that it's just a part of Web3 companies that we have to deal with. You still have a lot of friends. There's still a lot of support. So yeah, I'm just very happy that you're continuing, and then especially the fact that you're choosing to use Twitch as like a big avenue too. It's awesome. We need more people like that. So really, really cool to hear. Anybody got any questions for Shnazzy? Wow, you really poured it out a little bit here. Appreciate you saying that. What you said, that you like my streams. Obviously, we appreciate having you here. Very cool. We'll do a grubfish before you start screen sharing again. I do want to show a couple of these NFTs that you got, and then after the grub, then you can screen share. We'll look at a deeper look into your project. But yeah, anybody got some words for Shnazzy? That's so cool to have you around. Maybe you'll even be hosting more Twitter Spaces in the future too. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, and that's right. This painting she's just talking about is the one that will be given away on the puzzle, and it's on the puzzle too. So it's called Cultivate, and it's meant to inspire that when things come up that weren't quite planned and they could be negative, you can still spin that around into a positive, grow new wings, cultivate new wings, new directions. Sometimes in this space in Web3 that happens faster than we might think. Things change one year to the next so quickly, but we're using it as a positive. Anyway, that's myself included. A lot of times I don't know what happens in my life year to year, and I'm just going with the flow, trying to maintain a positive attitude. So, very, very cool.
It's the best way to be. And yes, it is acrylic. I saw Puzzler ask that. It is acrylic, and it also has a little bit of ink as well to get some of those darker depths shown off properly.
Yeah, and also really awesome to have more great artists on the blockchain. I totally agree. You know, games are great, and it is a huge selling point for Wax to bring more games onto Wax. But there's also art on Wax, and we need to highlight that too, because there's so much for artists on Wax too, like we just talked about. Not only that, but the utility, which we didn't really cover. It's like the artist, like what you said, actually, I really like. As an artist, you're able to express a lot more about your art because you have a community. You can tell, like this, like you told your whole backstory about it. Things like that you don't really get from a normal artist. And here you have a whole community. In fact, if you don't have a server yet, you should have a Discord server.
I got one, don't you worry.
Okay. Oh, well, we need to add that to the bounty log. I missed that. So yeah, so we'll have a server, and you can tell all about it. You can write stories about the art and everything else. And then using NFTs, you can add even more actual utility, like beyond collectability, with their staking and everything. And now WaxDAO allows artists to even do it on their own through a dashboard. So there's a lot of different ways to use incentives through NFT beyond just the art and the stories, which is also already a peg above Web 2. So really, really cool. So we have here some ShnazzyNFTs. These ones are from your main collection called ShnazzyNFTs, which we'll look at. And then the e-girls, these are packs, and we'll also look at that after the grubfish. But then you got this one right here Shnazzy's Office first week of streaming. So it's a commemorative piece that celebrates your first week of streaming. I thought that would be a good one to give away here on a Grub since we're streaming, and we have this. So yeah, actually, as part of the artwork, that's something to note too. So you do both physical art on a canvas like that painting, but then you do digital art using Procreate and different things on a tablet, because that's what you were doing on the stream. So you're doing both. Do you do more of one than the other? Do you have a preference of the art medium or anything, or do you just like all of it?
See, I like both of them. I have a preference of physical art more, but one of my big long-term dreams and goals is to be able to have a magic card one day. I want so badly to have my art on a magic card, so I have to build up that skill.
Okay.
And that's the goal, is to get so good, hopefully, no matter how long that takes, maybe 5 years, to be able to be on a magic card.
Oh, we'll see it one day. We'll see it. Maybe you can say create your own set of no, your own set of cards. That's what you could do as a collection too. No, it would be. I feel you. I'm not. I don't play, but I have friends who are all about magic, so it would be really cool to see something like that one day.
Would be.
Do you want to say anything about this piece other than that? That's what it is. It's a commemorative piece for streaming, right? So first place, we'll get that one.
Absolutely. So that piece, I love this piece. Some of my community members were with me creating this during my stream last week. So they got to put in some of their own things that they wanted me to put in there. And then other things are just things from my life. So you'll see some pieces from my past Ethereum collections on the shelves. Obviously, a magic card in a graded box. The book that my husband and I worked on together for the Shnazzy Saga. Some of my physical paintings are on the wall. And ultimately, there's just a lot of me tied into this. It halfway represents the actual workspace that I have, and then it also builds into everything about the community. And I love this piece
Cool.
so much. And I actually use it as my overlay for my stream.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Yeah, you got some detail in the back too. These are things that if you don't look closely, you just pass things up. The artist puts all the details in there. I used to draw too years and years ago. But even every little thing in the background, the artist is putting that effort and time to put those things back there subtly. And it's just a cool thing to pick out little things like these little paintings in the back and things like that. So that's really cool. Puzzle says, Sanika recently sent me your book. I plan to read it over Christmas vacation. Have you been writing for a long time as well? That's right. You write books too.
Well, no. So actually, the Shnazzy Saga is a book of my characters from a D&D campaign that my husband was the DM for.
Okay.
And I initially, whenever I came to Wax, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to create these and I'm going to make my story. And I've had this for a long time, but I wanted to do a comic book, and I was like, this sounds like it would be a lot of fun, and I was holding that idea for a long time, and when I came to Wax, I was like, this is what I can do. I can start my comic book, and I got a few of the characters out, and I was like, I really want to focus on painterly style, instead of doing like harsh lines like a comic would, or trying to figure out how comic book panels go. It's really hard to make a comic book, and the people who spend their time doing it are incredibly skilled. Because you have to know a lot of different skills whenever you're creating paneling and writing
Okay.
for a comic, and it didn't give me enough time, in my opinion, to write what I wanted to write in the way that I wanted it to be delivered. And so I worked with my husband, and he said, you don't have to tell the story. It's like, I know your story. You've written now all of these different pieces of the story in the NFTs you've already released. How about you just let me take over writing? I've always wanted to be a writer, and he was a very good DM, so I knew he had the ability to tell a good
Oh,
story. And so he actually would write a chapter, and I would do 2 to 4 pieces of art. Both of them would be due by the same day in a week, and then we would put that up as our weekly drop. So a chapter of the book would come out and be readable, and there would be collectible poster NFTs that would go with it. And that's what this NFT collection that you were showing earlier was. And it's so awesome, and I love it
Yeah,
so
that's
much
so
because it,
cool. So it's a
yeah.
story based on the NFTs, surrounding the NFTs, and then you can. Where would you access the reading? That's in Discord, or
Well, the initial, as it was coming out, they were available to read in Discord, and now it's all on Amazon. They're
oh,
published on Amazon. You can get the physical book or the digital copy on Kindle, and also it has a Audible book as well. And this is just
wow.
one of a three-part series, so the second book
So
is
yeah,
being
well,
worked on right now.
we'll look at that next for sure. I want to see that listing and everything. That's so cool to add some story to the NFTs. And honestly, the whole comic books is also kind of nichey as far as your audience. Like they're not everybody's gonna doesn't like comic books as much. But this is more of a personal, just a backstory to an art piece. I like it. It's different. And now you got them published. That's so cool. All right. So yeah, we'll look at that next. We'll look at that next. But until then, first place we'll get that Shnazzy's office piece that we just looked at. 10th and 20th we'll get an e-girls pack. We'll look at what that is next. And the biggest grub killer, we'll get a sketch card. Are we ready to go? A 3, a 2, a 1. So yeah, that's awesome. Doing so much stuff. And stoked for the future. Gonna do some more stuff. That's awesome.
Absolutely. That's how you leave a legacy.
That's how you leave a legacy. Keep putting stuff out. That's like me. I got a long story of ConsumerBreak, but I always just tackle it as it comes. Year to year, something different happens, it seems, but it's exactly right. Creating a legacy. So, put as much stuff as we can out there, and really creative people. It's like we gotta have a knack for it. You gotta always be working and creating something. So it's that much cooler and better when you have a community that really likes it and wants to see more of it.
See, that's where the magic is.
The magic.
Yeah, how much love and excitement you get whenever you get to put out a new piece and people actually want to collect it immediately.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. I wouldn't have nearly as much fun or content if people weren't watching or in the Discord. So, yeah, absolutely fuels us creatives a lot more. Nika with the number 1.
Oh, the little stop at the end, that was so funny.
Nika with the number 1. You get the Shnazzy's Office NFT piece. And then an e-girls pack goes to Nathaga. And Brer won a pin. Well done. It looks like one person managed to get Explosion in. Is that right? Ivy Fornove with 1 grub kill. Well done. You'll get a sketch card for that. Well done. Alright, you guys can rejoin. We're going to take another 15-minute break and let Shnazzy do some screen sharing here. Let's see, bring you back. Boop. And go over your project so you can start on the website or wherever you want with the ShnazzyNFTs portion of it. Look at some different pieces. Look at the Amazon. Maybe show an example of the story. I think that's really cool. And then after that, we can look at the Shnazzy's e-girls and how that came about and what that is. So I got your screen shares on now, so you can go ahead and boop away.
All right. So this is the collection that I was just talking about with the Shnazzy Saga, and this was the piece that started it all.
The piece that started it all. Oh, cool.
Yep.
That's your collection's profile pic. That's cool.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. This is a character, Veronica, and she is one of the most badass women, in my opinion, in the whole book. And she is kind of the heroine. She's fighting for basically the knowledge that an alien race has behind their biggest, scariest weapon. So that's what she's working toward, and you'll get to see some of the other pieces in this. This is the templates for the NFTs themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, these come out alongside of the chapters, and whenever we were creating this, we actually have in the first book, there are going to be 3 total books. In the first book, it kind of tells the story of Veronica and also my character Riley, and they're in 2 different places, and they have 2 separate stories going on, and it's a duality type book. And this is, this is Shirley's Riley. We'll show you this. This is Riley right here, and he is the person that I played in D&D, and he's a retired adventurer. He's had a huge fulfilling life, and he's opened up an airship bed and breakfast, and the whole book is really interesting because it paints all of the different adventures or the way that life tries to bring him back into adventuring. And I absolutely love the story. If you haven't given it a listen, reach out to me. I might be able to give you an Audible code so that you can listen to it while you work.
Are you doing the audio for that too? The reading?
No. Oh my gosh, no, but we have the best narrator ever.
Oh, really?
Yes. Well, we thought about it. We were contemplating whether or not we would do it, but we don't have, I think, as strong of an ability to tell the story in the dramatic sense. So we put it out there on editions for people who liked to read books and people who narrated on Audible before, and we actually got some seriously talented people who are like, we want to read this book, we really like this chapter that you have for the intro chapter, and we want to know more about it. I'd be honored to read it. And we got quite a few people. It was really neat, except the very last one. We were about to decide on one, and then we got an email from somebody, and it was their first time ever trying out for a book, and they've never read professionally on Audible ever before. And his name is Brennan Blotner, and oh my gosh, he was perfect.
Really?
He was. So yes, I thought everybody else was so talented. Like, hearing the story be told by somebody else is like a really crazy experience.
Yeah,
and they were all very good, but Brennan, he's amazing. And since he read the Between the Stars, he he actually has read 7 more books, and he has, I think, 4 more books that he's currently reading and recording, and his career is taking off.
As his first,
really cool.
As his first move being the Shnazzy book, well, he landed in a good place there. I'm so glad that he did a good job for you to like it. And it's cool that you sought out professional voices too, to spice up the audiobook. I think your voice would be great too, but like you say, I haven't read it, so as far as a dramatic reading, maybe another narrator's better. Really, really cool. You got audiobook too. That's exciting. And of course, there's some artwork, obviously some super high quality, beautiful looking artwork.
Thank you. Yes, I think this one is one of my absolute favorites. But this is right before their worlds are going to collide. Veronica's and Riley's. Varela is a different character, and I'll show you her in just a second too. But it was really cool too, because a lot of people didn't read the chapter and they would just buy the drop. And they didn't. It's just because they didn't have time to really read a chapter, or sit down to read a chapter on a weekly basis. This is one of the pieces as well that I absolutely love. I actually made this my mouse mat in the.
Oh, it's pretty.
In the desk piece. Yeah.
So you like drawing like the space, what do you call those, nebulas, or just the way that the outer space looks with the purple and stuff? It looks really.
I do.
Because that's the art. That's the background here too, which I got from your Twitter cover. It's just beautiful, beautiful. I like it too. I love looking at space, like stars and things like that. So it looks really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I know Mama Cosmic over there. Cosmic Alien loves outer space too, but it is so fun.
She's from outer space.
It is really fun to paint space, and I highly recommend, if anybody's never tried, just to sit down and try it, because it's really like you get lost in the clouds. I love this piece too.
Yeah, that's awesome looking.
Very eerie. But yeah, it paints out some of the different scenes, and it's got a little bit of the whole entire story about it. I love this collection.
So you're actually making scenes for the story then. So it's almost like an illustration for that part of the story.
Yeah, and what's really funny is my husband and I actually would like collaborate before we did, or he'd describe a character or describe a scene, and he'd be like, "All right, is this easy to draw?" And I was like, "No."
No, let's tone it
And
down.
oh, yeah, and it was really funny, and but it was a it was a fantastic experience.
Awesome.
But this is the collection for the saga, and it's neat because people bought the art without knowing the context of the story, and as they're starting to actually hear the story for the first time, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I love this art so much more now because I know why it
Yeah,
exists."
yeah, it's got a story behind the art. That would add a lot of depth, especially when it's a full blown story with an audiobook and everything. So it's like an illustrated storybook, but the illustrations are over here on NFTs, on posters, essentially.
Yeah,
I like
I
it. It's
put
a
them
fun
in these
concept.
scrolls.
It's fun. So all of
It
them,
looks
all of
really
these
fun.
NFTs on this collection are connected to the story, or is there
Yep.
miscellaneous? Oh, cool.
Nope, all of them. And what's really cool too is you'll see some of these scrolls appear. The way that I set it up was that the scroll would open up, kind of like how you would open a pack, except for it had like a burn mechanic. So the scroll would burn up in an animation when you opened it,
Oh,
and you'd get a burnt scroll piece. So you would get a random poster inside of the scroll, and then a burnt scroll piece, and you could take those burnt scroll piece, blend them for more rare NFTs that would only have a limit of 5.
cool.
So
So you
like
got
this
some
is
blend action going on too. A little bit of incentive and stuff happening. Did you, oh
yes,
yeah,
this
you
was
do.
one of
You
the
do e-girl
blends.
packs. Is there any packs on these too? The-
Um,
these are all
no,
capped too,
these were
right?
just the
All of
scrolls.
these posters, they're all capped.
Yep, all of
Okay.
them.
Cool.
Yeah, I like capped pieces. The only time I don't cap a piece is for in the e-girls collection. Sometimes I'll make a POAP and I'll leave it up for an allotted amount of time, and then I lock them template. But that is this collection. I love this piece too.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. I love nature art, nature photography. I just love nature stuff. So it looks so pretty whenever, like that piece you had, or even like the space stuff. I just love that kind of stuff.
Oh, me too.
Gonna have to check out the stories too. I haven't popped into your Discord yet, but we're gonna have to check out some backstories and all that. That's really, really interesting.
Oh, well,
And
thank
for those
you.
people that don't have much time, like me, you can listen to the audiobook. You don't have to sit there and read. You can be read to. That's really cool.
That's exactly why we made sure it had a good audiobook, because we were all of the people who are buying our NFTs were creatives who wouldn't have time to sit down and read
Yeah,
something.
right.
So
You're right.
it's something you can do while drawing or while putting together a puzzle.
Putting together puzzles. Yep.
Yeah, and this is my e-girls collection, which most people on Wax know me by. So I created all of the assets to do my own 10K PFP, and I thought I was gonna hold out. This is before I knew about Wax. I thought I was gonna hold out for GameStop, and so I made it e-girls because I felt like that was appropriate, and I thought it would do really well there. And I always wanted to have a PFP collection that was showing the more I wouldn't say grungy side of ladies that are using blockchain, but all of the other female collections on Ethereum at the time were like World of Women, and there were more classy looking ladies, and I was like, I don't
Okay.
resonate with any of these PFPs, so I
Gotcha.
sought out to make more my type of style and aesthetic PFPs. Let me load more of these up because these are all from the October event.
Yeah.
Um,
So for anyone that's
so
not familiar with PFPs, it's unique. One of one. Every one of them's a one of one with different attributes, different looks to them. So they're all one of one collectibles out of total 10,000. And you got your art style in there with some ladies that aren't quite as classy. They're more like the regular some regular Janes. Electronics. I saw something with women of electronics. That was in the description of that. So that yeah, really
yes,
cool.
the term e-girl
Gamer
is
girls.
used.
Yeah, gamer
Yes,
girls. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
girls who are familiar with electronics for sure. And I wanted it to appeal to a younger audience because I typically see a lot more uh, older teenagers and younger adults coming into the space as things progress. So I wanted to be able to have something that those girls would be able to relate to, especially as the earlier ones who are coming in right now they can see these and maybe relate to some of the hairstyles or some of the trends that are current right now in that age group. So
Okay. Yeah, cool.
it's
Cool things to think about. So you really thought about that some too. It's very
yeah,
neat.
I wanted to make sure it was neat, and I actually added this background right here after I realized I was going to be putting them on wax. That way, I could show the Funkos. So
Oh, okay. Got
we have an
Funkos
ode
in
to
the back.
Funkos back here. But I really love this collection, and it has over 300 different attributes. So all of the e-girls, I mean, it could probably make, I think,
Oh, got a
14 times
spooky
the
one there.
amount.
A skeleton. Oh, these are costumes?
Yeah, so this was this is gonna be hard to say out loud, but it was my October event, and I made a different e-girl, a very interesting e-girl, every single
Oh,
day
okay,
of the month
right.
of
I did
October.
see some of those posts. So they all
Yeah,
had like costumes to go with October. That's really cool.
absolutely. I asked in the Discord community and on Twitter what kind of costumes they think e-girls would wear, and then I allocated one to every single day and put out a calendar, and I was like, all right, these are the ones. And they all went up for auction, and they were really fun.
Okay.
And it was neat too because my digital art ability grew a little bit since I had originally made the assets for the e-girls, so they're much nicer, in my opinion, than the other e-girls. But it made all of these extremely rare as well.
Awesome.
Um,
Awesome.
but the whole goal with what I wanted to do with the e-girls from the beginning was to really highlight and showcase girls that were early to blockchain technology and show off what they were doing, specifically girls who were doing things like making content, whether that be YouTube content or TikTok content or really even Twitch content. If they were present in the community, I wanted to highlight them and uplift them and give them a way to talk about NFTs and what they were doing. So it's really
Nice.
cool. I know that probably everybody knows Waffles Kitty. This is one that we were able to create and collaborate together, and I
Oh,
want
nice,
to
nice.
I wanted to really make all of these girls be characters that they wanted to be, and to give them a sense of heroism. And so in this particular piece, it was really neat. She was like, I love Heimerdinger from League of Legends. I would love to look like Heimerdinger. So I put her in the outfit, and then she has waffles that look like
Uh-huh.
cats coming out.
Oh, that's awesome. Adorbs. And
Yes.
Waffles' Kitty is still hard at work organizing a convention, so we will have one. It was just renamed NFTopia, voted on by the
Oh.
group, and it will happen at the end of January. I'm very involved in it too, so that's exciting. That's cool. You have a Waffles Kitty e-girl. Do you have any other collab e-girls in there?
Yeah, so we have Arc. She actually, I don't know if I helped get her this job, but she is now working for Atomic Hub and
Really?
NFT Insider.
She
Yes,
didn't
yes,
tell me
very
that
exciting.
yet. Though that's very good. That's very good. That's what she should be.
Absolutely. She is amazing. I hope everybody in here knows who she is because you should. You're going to learn about her soon. But we actually did this whenever she was streaming on Twitch. I think we worked on this, yes, on 9/2. So that's whenever this went out. She was able to give it away to our viewers. We were sharing it on all our socials. And she actually is really athletic, and so she wanted to make sure that what she was doing was her VTuber character icon, and that she was about to look like she's going to kick some butt. So that's why she's in this position, and it was really fun. But yeah, we have Arc, we have Kristalla, who is a bilingual streamer and content creator. She makes a lot of YouTube content to explain how these games work to the Spanish community, and I love this was the first one that we did, and I absolutely love this piece so much. But she said if I was ever a superhero in real life, I would have a bow and I would be good at using it. And I was like, all right, Christella, I got
There
you.
you go. I'll get you, Bo.
Yeah, I'll
Cool.
get you a bow. I thought that was so cool. And then Miss Teen Crypto had her laser eyes to talk about Bitcoin, and of course we have the Betsy from the time that Nifty Blocks had their Nifty Quest. and then one of myself as well. And it has been really fun. We even
Awesome.
have the first POAPs, but that's what this collection is. We're still doing really fun things with it. We're getting different skins and stuff inside of games. We're getting shout outs. And ultimately, what has come of it is that we have a Discord where a lot of gamers come together and just play games together. And I was streaming inside of the Discord for so long, and it just felt like the natural way to come into Twitch and bring
Yeah.
that community onto Twitch. So that's what we're
Awesome.
doing now.
Awesome.
But yeah, if you play games, you can come play games with us, and we play all kinds of stuff. And that's what the e-girls are, what we do. I still am making POAPs. I have one for Kite coming
Okay,
soon.
great. All the women of
And
Wax can go ahead and get one. That's
absolutely,
great.
yes, yes. And if you want to bring a woman of wax to me for me to draw her, I will do it. I will do it, and she will
Yeah?
have a POAP, and
Is
that's what I
Cosmic
want.
Alien in there? Oh, is that the alien right there? I see an alien.
No, Cosmic Alien isn't here, but she needs to be in here. She needs to have one for sure. And you know what? I'm gonna message her on Discord right after this to ask her what she would look like.
Maybe Puzzler
Um,
needs one. Oh no, that's real. Oh, thanks for the follow. First time chat as well.
Puzzled Puzzler
Quack
does need
Stacks.
one. Hello,
Well,
Quacks.
so you're continuing to make new mints, new artworks. Then that is that still part of the 10K collection, right?
Yes.
So you're still just you're basically you're just it's still part of the 10K, but you're making them as you go. They're not all created yet. What
The 10K do exist as the packs. So on Nifty
packs?
Blocks,
Okay.
yeah, on Nifty Blocks, I think this.
So if you open a
this
pack, what's it pulling? A random one out of what's already created, basically.
yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is what the pack would look like, and whenever you open it up, whether it be on NFT Blocks or NFT Hive, unfortunately you can't open them on Atomic Hub. You open it up and you will get one of the generated e-girls, and there are a lot of really rare ones. There's some fun ones. We've got I know that you guys got to see a lot of the e-girls just a second ago, but we have a lot of different ways that you can see and rank their scores for their rarity, and it's a good time.
Awesome.
We have a lot of people who are very attached to their e-girls.
But now, like the ones in October, they were all auctioned, right? And then like the
Yes.
collab ones were probably what given to those ladies, or what do you do with those collab ones? Because they're all one of ones, right? So, or were they
See,
auctioned or what? How's that go?
no, so the collab ones are a different style, and we call these artsy e-girls.
Okay.
And they're in a different style, and those are the POAPs that we let them either talk about on their stream or on their video or on any of the socials that what they want to do. So, for example, this has exactly 1,000 that were issued, which means that Miss Teen Crypto shared this on
Oh, okay.
her channel. She talked about it, and it was a way to onboard people, because ultimately what I wanted to do here was create a big place for, I guess, e-girl streamers outside of blockchain to be able to see, and then be willing to let me draw them and to give their POAPs to their viewers to kind of educate about blockchain from outside of blockchain. But in order to get there, we had to start with everybody who is already working on the blockchains right now, and that's ultimately the goal. So it's to highlight all the women here that exist right now, and then after we have enough of a portfolio, we'll bring it to women who exist outside of blockchain to see if maybe they'd be interested in educating their own communities of watchers and viewers about blockchain. And that was a big way that I saw was a possible outlet to bring in more people into wax and to bring in people
Mm-hmm.
into NFTs and get them to change their dynamic a little bit, because if they were able to capture an NFT and get an NFT for free of somebody they already liked, it would be like a collectible they would feel attached to.
Mm-hmm.
And if one of their favorite streamers was like, all right, here's some art that you can collect and it's free to do so, come buy it or come get it, or here it is, I thought it would be a much easier way when there's nothing at stake to bring in people into the blockchain. So that was the goal.
Yeah.
And Missing Crypto actually has the most supplied right now, I do believe. She does have a big following, though. A lot of them were Bitcoiners, and some of them had collected her pieces on Wax before. But she told me that so many people were excited to set up a Wax wallet to be able to collect this
Nice.
piece.
So those collab ones aren't one of one. Those ones are like 1,000 like that, and then it's to distribute. Bet that's W says I have number 777 of that one. Well, that's cool. That's cool.
That is very lucky.
Who else has e-girls in the chat? All right. So, but then the packs would open a one of one, just a random one, a random attribute one that's in there. But it wouldn't be like the ones that are auctioned or anything like that.
Right, right. So like on the market right now, you can see some of the other ones that people have put up.
Okay.
And you can look at them this way. On NFT Hive, they actually have search filters now, which is really cool. So you can see not only how rare the attribute is, but also which ones exist on the marketplace and which ones don't,
Okay, cool.
and are still in packs. So it's really neat.
Yeah.
But that's the packs, and then this is where I put my physical paintings and also art that's not related to the e-girls and not related to the saga. So this is everything. This is where everything else comes to live. Yeah. So these right here are physical paintings and redeemables for virals, and they're set at a total USD price so that if you were to use something like Atomic Hub's Banksa, you'd be able to purchase it with a credit or debit card if you wanted to. And then some of them are not like that. Like this was a POAP for the Wax Wednesday Women on the Block space that I was a part of, which was a big part of my history. And so it's really neat to see them up here too. And again, like I said, all the physical paintings are here. This is one as well.
What's this collection? Oh, Shnazzy stuff. That's right. There's a third collection. I didn't put that on the puzzle, but that's right. So that's where you all your miscellaneous other things go. So that makes sense. So ShnazzyNFTs has the story-based posters. The e-girls have the e-girls, and then this has everything else. So it's 3 things to follow. Beautiful, beautiful. It's cool that you're putting your photos of or scans of your real life paintings as NFTs too, to let people kind of collect that as well. Wherever the original physical one ends up, it can live here on the blockchain. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. And I love that aspect about it. I think viral NFTs is going to be a big solution to solving a lot of world problems, such as like overconsumption and things like that.
Awesome. A few people have some. Dread has some. Old Mankey. Very, very cool. All right. Let's do another Grubfish, and when we get back, we'll still have a last section just to go over anything remaining, or any questions. Any questions, anybody? Go ahead and give us them, and we'll do that next. And then after I sign her off, I will continue with 3 more Grubfish before we finish the stream, which will be prizes from some other collections down there. What are your goals for 2023? There's a good one.
Ooh, I want to make YouTube content and also TikTok content from the Twitch streams. And ultimately, I would really love to get partnership on Twitch. So I'm off to a good start. You guys helped me get affiliate really early, and I'm really grateful for that.
That next step to partnership is a difficult one. A number of us Wax streamers aren't there. You need to have an average of 75 viewers, and we're not there yet either. But, as time goes by, maybe we can all get there and help push Wax even further. So that's a really good, awesome goal. I know a lot of creatives have so much that they want to do, whether it's planned or it comes up like later in 2023. We're just going to have all these new things that we didn't plan on now. So that's just part of it. TikTok content. Totally. Yeah, that's one thing I have not done either. But that is something as streamers we could do. We could start posting clips. It takes a little more work to find clips, cut them down, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And that's the fun part is that it is a challenge. It's a challenge, and you have all your cards and all the pieces of the puzzle, and you just got to figure out how they fit together.
All pieces of the puzzle. That's right. You got to fit that puzzle together. All right. This Grubfish will have e-girls packs, and then these packs only have one, right? So you'll get a random e-girl in the pack.
Absolutely. Yep.
A one of one. 1st and 10th and 20th, we'll get an e-girls pack. The biggest grub killer will get a sketch card. And the next Grubfish games after I sign Shnazzy off will include Faded Monsuda, the online in, and one from Aquascape Art. So there you go. Last chance to get in here. Any other questions? We can totally cover them next before we sign her off. And once again, it's really great collab, really fun to have you on. A prominent name in wax in a way. Seems like a lot of people know you. And then of course the physical painting is just a really, really cool tidbit to add to as a prize. It's not something we really do, so definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure. This is exciting and fun, and I absolutely love your stream. So, it feels
cool.
good.
So cool you think that. And of course the puzzles and everything, what we're trying to do, the collabs. I'm definitely excited for what has happened this year and what will be coming next year. There's a lot of potential for everybody. So here we go. A 3, a 2, a 1. Bada binga! Sensei! You just got in a hair late, unless you were in there earlier. But welcome anyway, Sensei! Tissues with the spins! Explosions! As a reminder, this puzzle game and the bounty block will be live for a whole week. And we have a password game currently for this stream only that's live for a few hours. That password is art. You can put in art as the password in the puzzle. And then we will have a new collab every week. Next week will be Sasha and Katie Colorful. Week after that is Zombie Outbreak Survival. Week after that's Cosmos 11. And on and on and on. Hopefully many more big things to come next year as well. And we will, I'll talk about it a little later too, but we will be launching our new app called Student Break and also Bible Break for anybody interested in Bible, where these puzzles will showcase educational content for kids. And we're starting to beta test that now, so we actually need people to test. Shnazzy's kids will be will be testing.
Yes, they will.
And anybody else, if you have kids or no kids that would like to having fun with these puzzle games, the same style puzzle game, you can find out some details at studentbreak.com there and can contact us for it. Because I'll be starting next week. Congratulations! Scythian! Scythian with an E-Girls pack win. Same thing for NFT. And same thing for 1D Work. You all got an E-Girls pack. Well done, well done. Oops. And then
I'm excited to see what they open.
Yeah, we'll find out. And then we got a Master Sploder, Demi Berlin with 3. Demi Berlin with 3 grub kills. Good attempt there, Avi Fornarv. Good attempt. Demi Berlin, you'll get the sketch on that one. And we'll hit the button again. You guys can join again. We're going to be on for one last section here. Pretty casual. Thank you for showing all the stuff. There's some stuff I didn't know about what you're doing, so it's very, very exciting. Very busy. But that goes back to what we said in the beginning. That's the right attitude to have in lieu of being laid off randomly. Things happen. But you have the attitude to keep going. You already have established a community and collection, so carry on forward. It's really awesome. And then even more so, take it a step above and start doing streaming and other stuff. So anybody got any questions for Shnazzy? Now's the good time for those. Any questions or anything else you wanted to take a look at? Do you have any more artwork that you didn't show yet or anything like that? Or maybe look at the Amazon, the listings or a portion of the stories so we know what they look like, that kind of thing?
Oh, I probably should pull up the Amazon too. that also, we had signed book covers as NFTs as well that we gave out to everybody who ordered the book in the first week, which was really cool to see.
Okay. Yeah, some NFT airdrops to people that buy physical stuff. I love that. I love that. That's really nice. Where do you
It was really neat.
see yourself and your art 1 year from today? That's kind of like what's going on next year. I don't know. Well, hopefully a lot more art, right? And
Yeah.
potential and a lot more Twitch followers. any
Yes.
any
All of
specific
those.
ideas? Anything bigger? Any another collection? No, I don't know.
No,
Anything?
no, no, no. Hopefully not. Yeah, so I am really wanting to actually go to these NFT events like NFT NYC. Oh, are you still able to hear me?
I hear you. Your video froze up for some reason.
Interesting. Well, I'll just talk about it. I really want to go to
The
NFT
video
NYC.
ninja went out. If you wanted to come back on, you can for both screen share and video. But we still hear you.
Did it come back?
Yep, sure did. There's the cam.
Too excited, that's what happened. But I ultimately would love to go to events like NFT NYC and have art and have a lot of my physical paintings there and treat it how artists create their own booths at conventions or at, county fairs.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like what Priscilla's been doing. So
Yes,
that's love
yes.
to see more stuff like that. Any creators that also have physical stuff, yeah, take those things to cons and start promoting, educating people. So that's really
Yeah,
fun.
and I love that Priscilla goes with it on the way that she does, where she's trying to onboard like more people into blockchain, and she's doing a lot of education. I think I'd like to do it in reverse, and I think I would like to actually show off, in my opinion, what art can be on the blockchain, especially whenever we're talking about virals to blockchain-related events. So for example, I bring all of my physical paintings up, put them on the walls of the booth, and basically be an artist at those blockchain events. Whenever I got to go to New York to talk about WAX, it was really interesting to see. It was just a lot of people who were trying to, I guess, get you to use their products. And you often hear, especially on Twitter, about everybody being like, oh, it's all about the art for NFTs. And a lot of that art is AI art, a lot of the art is generated art. Not to say that either one of those things is bad. I think I personally have use cases for both of them. But at the same time, I think that we should be highlighting art more in places like that, and that's what I'd like to
And
start.
some more fine art, like you just said, a lot of as far as what the mainstream thinks of NFTs, they're seeing AI. They're seeing those extremely simple PFPs that's just like some generated computer thing, or they're seeing pixel. They're not seeing actual fine art like a painting like this as an NFT. It's at least way less common as far as the mainstream is concerned. But it's totally true. It can totally happen, like you have in your collection. Like you can turn real fine art into an NFT, and you highlighting that in different cons and showing that in action. Like here's the painting, here's the NFT of it. Like this, it's one and together. It's a beautiful thing. Showing, educating them, and then also again educating about the benefits of wax. And whenever they come to you, NFTs, ew, that's Ponzi's and bad for the environment. You can be like, actually, it's this. Something Drawn Company and Broken Dolls also are working on at Comic Cons and stuff. These are things that are really, really good for the space. So it's awesome to see creators doing that. And of course, we have our virtual version that we'll be doing every 2 months too. But for the most part, everybody there kind of knows NFTs and blockchain. So the fact that you're getting out there into a mainstream convention where really no one knows anything and putting it out there and trying to onboard people, even if you onboard like one person, if you create one wallet, that's a really good thing. Like they might be really into it. They might be a community member now, and they might be buying stuff from you, and they might tell their friends. That's for something this nichey, that's really kind of not mainstream yet. It goes a really long way. Same thing for something like a new app like ours or something. Is if you get one person that really likes it, they could tell their friends, and it just kind of works that way. So that's awesome to hear. Uh,
Like, word of mouth
Tapioca.
is powerful.
Yeah. Tapioca asks, "Why are you so cute?"
Thank you. Well, I took a shower today.
Well, the art's very cute too. So that's something to note. I don't know. It's really like all the characters and everything. The e-girls. It's very cute art,
I love the
which
e-girls so
which
much. They feel like
fits
my babies.
the demo. You know, you're celebrating e-girls, gamer girls. It fits the demo really, really well. It's so great having the option to claim a viral. Having the option to claim it later is so cool. Yeah, especially if you already have. That's something in my opinion. But if you already have physicals, not necessarily I'm going to create a new physical because I already have the NFT. You know, because you could do that too. Oh, I'm going to create a toy that looks like. But if you already have them, like paintings, or it could be many different things, and then you're essentially just adding a utility to that physical thing that's already going to be produced and sold. So it can be an NFT can be a point of sale. That's one way. Like I'm going to buy this physical thing by buying the NFT, but the physical thing is already there. It's already a big part of the brand, you know. Or adding utility. Oh, I'm going to buy this physical painting at this con with cash, but with that I'm going to get this free NFT that gives me these perks, things like that. So it's awesome seeing you marrying those two things, especially where it's fine art. Again, like the fact that it is art, and more traditional artists should just start to realize this and utilizing it and monetizing it too. That's a big thing too. You know, it's not cash grabs really. It's a way of living, and artists can't make a way of life that so easy anymore. Not like the old days. And this is a
They
way
have
to
to
create
do a lot.
limited mints and utility and things, auctions, things like that you just as a regular artist, unless you're famous, you're not going to be able to do those things without the NFTs. So, and then again, the AI art. It's just all these artists are scared, righteously so, because this AI art is starting to really just take over. I mean, Curly is still kind of stealing everybody's art. If you look into it, it's a very bad thing. But as it grows and grows, people are going to be more attached, I think, to creating like AI art, and it's going to leave real artists more marginalized. So this is a way to really just create a brand and community around your art, the way Shnazzy does. You're really lead by example, Shnazzy. Lead by example. Keep twitching.
Thank you.
Keep telling the artists how to do it, because the way that you the story thing is beautiful. The way that you I mean the PFPs is fun too, but the fact that you have stories built around the artwork, like you said when we started, adds such another level to just basic art. So hopefully people will really resonate with that, and they feel good too being in a community and talking to an artist or a creator, being a part of it. Like, hey, I'm actually a part of this group that likes this thing. That's something you can get here on Wax that you also can't get a traditional artist. Even if you have followers and things. Oh, I have an Instagram with things. It's not the same though. You might have some followers that are really dedicated, but it's not the same as a community of Discord that's really active and collecting actual things like that. They're just like on Instagram, they'll just like and they'll move on. So it's a whole different dynamic. So anyway, very, very cool. Very excited for the future. If you have anything final to show or say, or if there's any last questions, we'll take them. Otherwise, we'll continue forward pretty soon. Of course, love having you on here.
Thank you for having me on here. I'll go ahead and say a little closing statement. I have had such a great time being on the stream, and I love what you're doing with educating everybody about the different creators on Wax, whether that be games, artists, musicians, developers. I think it's really important to join the communities, and I love that you had said that earlier, and I wanted to highlight how good that was. I hope somebody clips it. And I think it's having conversations like these and being able to talk to people and learn about them in different ways that really strengthens what we're doing here. Because I mean, 5 years from now, these are going to be some of those stories we talk about whenever people are like, oh, well, what was the start like? Or how did you meet this person?
It's going to be different times in 5 years when the mainstream start to really be, like, we're early, and we know this, but when we all band together, it's exactly right. I like to have projects of any size on here, big, small. If they're doing something nice and creative, and it's a legit creator that's involved. It's no scammers involved here. That's real people coming onto the stream to talk, being transparent, talking about their stuff. We all grow together, and it helps us all, and it helps Wax. So it's a win-win-win for everybody, and we need more of it. Really, we need even more of it. Everybody that's a creator on Wax should be doing all they can to collab. That's what I think. If your collection isn't set up to do collab NFTs, then at least get on streams and things like that, or participate. Or when we do our NFTopia conventions, get in there. That's a really, really big one now. I'm more involved as of the past one when I did that crazy raid train stuff. I'm going to do that every time now. So every single time we have a convention, thanks for the follow. Appreciate the follow. These creators can create a booth. They can get in there. You can have an event to talk about your thing, and then people can go over there and check it out. Hopefully I'll be coming over with my big old train of people, and we can actually learn through the convention. Every hour we can learn about something different. It's a beautiful, beautiful way to get together from all over the world too, I may add. I just love that. I'm just out here in West Virginia. A lot of the people in this state have never been out the state. They don't do anything tech. It's a very country type area. I'm a minority in NFTs here, but I have friends all over the world because of this, and it's just amazing. All over the world, Europe and India and Philippines and wherever. And a year ago, I would have never thought it would be like this. So that's part of also every year things change. So we're out here. We're trying to do our best. Shnazzy's in the same kind of category. You're going to be streaming more and things. Maybe you'll even do interviews at one point. I don't know. You should definitely have a booth at the next convention. We'll talk about that. Showcasing all your stuff.
I did a Digicon 8, I think. But then after that, I started working with Wax, and I had to run and man their booth.
Okay.
So that's why.
Well, now you're indie again. You can have your own booth.
Exactly.
And bring everybody, bring all the friends, because we're really trying. While we're on the topic, last Digicon it was announced Splinterlands is out, but me and Waffles Kitty and some others too have decided we're going to continue, and we've got enough sponsors to continue it, but it takes that effort of community effort. We need people to come, and we need those sponsors. We need creators, including bigger creators, bigger projects to come and be the sponsors. That will absolutely happen for January, but we would like to continue it the same type of schedule. If not every 2 months, then maybe every 3 or 4 months. But regardless, all that will come later. But it's going to be a Wax community effort and with creators too. And I'm very, very excited for it. So I'm totally stoked for that. In fact, it becomes even more like a decentralized community that way, without like putting a name on just, hey, this is Splinterland's thing. Even though it really hasn't been in the past. A lot of it's grown up so much to where a lot of it was based on a whole bunch of sponsors, but now it's officially going to be, hey, there's some volunteer organizers and all the other sponsors that are just coming in to do it. So, but with Wax, it's totally going to happen. So definitely stoked for that, and anything that comes in the future for sure. Do you have any last words for the fam before I sign you off?
Yes, thank you for having me. It's been amazing, and I love being able to talk about my projects like this. Typically, I don't talk about my stuff very often, so I'm grateful to have this space. And I want to tell anybody who might be listening, if you are a creator of any kind, just go ahead, bite the bullet, put your stuff on the blockchain. What are you waiting for? You can do it. You can do it.
If you do art of any kind, if you do music, I know some people are doing music and they're trying to think of how to do that. Well, there's a lot of options. It's a creative Wild West. It's just a creative landscape. There's so many things you can do. And if you're unsure about some things, just ask. Like, ask for feedback, whether it be from any of us streamers or any other creators, or just other people in the communities, you know. Hey, I'm thinking about starting a collection, maybe throw some samples out, you know. And if you need the actual technical help of how to do it, that part's really not that hard, and we can help with that. And then the next thing you know, you'll set up a server and start talking, maybe get on these streams like this and get interviewed. And next thing you know, you'll have a following and community and people buying your stuff, and it's just a beautiful thing. It does take effort. It does take a lot of effort and work. But as a creative, if you're already creating art anyway or music anyway, you're already in that mindset. So maybe a little, you can consider it. Consider it. Maybe a little more effort. You can start putting your stuff on the blockchain. We'd love to see it. We'd love to see it.
Would. No, well, thank you for having me on.
For sure. All right. So with that, I'm going to sign you off. I will continue playing 3 more Grubfish, so don't go anywhere, folks. And of course, our collab will continue for a week. So you have the puzzle game, the bounty block, and I guess you're streaming. Did you say every day or every weekday?
Every weekday.
Every weekday. Follow Snazzy's NFTs. Look for those notifications. Snazzy's live doing art. Go say hi. All right.
That's right.
All right. It's been great having you. So we'll see you around.
Thank you so much. Well, you guys have a good time. Good luck.
Good luck.